But this is basically every sector in the UK economy, from the biggest services sectors down to mining of coal and lignite down there at the bottom. Now, you might have asked yourself, you might have thought that fishing might be somewhere in the middle, somewhere near the top, but actually, have a look at this. It's over there. It is one of the smallest parts of the UK economy, accounting for 0.018% of GDP. But there we are. That was one of the key sticking points in these talks. And Brexit, well, that's some of the impact, but it's going to take quite some time before we know what is actually going to happen.
How did Brexit impact the global world economy? Now let's just rewind back to January 1st, 1973. The United Kingdom was in a tight spot as its economy was continuously declining, and so they joined the European Union. It did aid them at the time, and the European Union grew to have more countries on their side now that they have 28 countries and they flourish. But the people might not have been happy with the rules and regulations of the European Union. But this was going to change in June 2016. The UK was going to be the first ever nation to leave the European Union. This has since divided the nation and brought sizable changes to all the countries involved. The world was at the edge of their seat watching as the voters in the United Kingdom would decide whether Britain should leave or remain in the European Union. They called it the Brexit, the British exit. The New York Times stated that there were more than 46,000 million people registered to vote, and it was a very close call where 51.9% wanted to leave the European Union, while 48.1% wanted to remain in the reformed European Union. The people who voted leave might have regretted it immediately after seeing all that happened after the separation, or how they like to call it, a divorce. Watch till the end to know how it affected the global economy, as we discussed in the video today. And if you like content like this, do consider subscribing to our channel. The campaign. Prime Minister David Cameron resigned shortly after separation from the European Union and handed his position over to the British Prime Minister Theresa May. Theresa May then introduced Article 50, which allowed 2 years for the European Union and the United Kingdom to outline the agreement for the divorce. They were still a part of the Western Union. This goes to show that the officials regret the separation. The effect was instant, and since then we can say that they are still recovering. But there has been a decrease in the currency value of the pound, and they no longer have AAA credit anymore. Everybody knew that there was more to come. This decision would change a lot of things, and Britain is not the only one affected by this. Global impact. This sudden detachment of the UK from the European Union would also mean that the European Central Bank will be compelled to intervene even more, and this has put Italy in a vulnerable position and made Germany's outperformance rather unsustainable. The separation will push the capital away from the region, while the investors move towards safer markets such as Japan or the US. This has lowered the market rates and increased their relative currency values. The increase in the value of the US dollar has further added an extra amount of pressure on China as their currency value lowers, mainly as they are caught between the two largest export markets, the US and the European Union. Even though the negative impact on the US exports is relatively low as compared to their domestic demands. The deflationary pressure on the tradable goods is said to further widen the divergence between the inflation in service sectors and strong deflation in the goods sector. An increase in currency value in dollars and yen could harm both of them in the export sectors, especially in Japan. This would be very harmful in their efforts to reinflate and further invigorate the economy after decades of deflation. Furthermore, the euro fell by 2% to $1.11. The pound fell by 8% to $1.36, hence increasing the value of the dollar. This would negatively affect the US stock markets as it makes the shares more expensive to foreign investors. The decrease in value would also mean US exports to the UK is now more expensive, although it hasn't tampered with the momentum of the export. For example, the statistics showed that US exports to the UK were $147.4 billion, up from $141 billion in 2018. Brexit sabotaged business growth for various companies that operate in Europe. US companies have invested $851.4 billion in the UK in the year 2019, while most of it was in the insurance and finance sectors and manufacturing and non-bank holding companies. These US companies used the UK as a medium of free trade with the EU nations, and now with Brexit, it has stopped. This could mean that there is a high chance of stagnant output for a couple of years, slower growth, maybe even close to stagnant, and a rise in inflation. Well, to more pressing issues that are yet to come, investors might have to formulate a better strategy on their investments with companies that rely on the UK. But there is a silver lining, as Brexit is a new start to the UK. They could either get worse or become better, as they have the advantage of more direct deals with other companies, with more freedom with non-EU markets. When all the dust settles and they are ready with their necessary adjustments, I'm sure that they will come through, with the replacement of their food exports coming from the EU to coming from the US. Kanzuk could establish a good and healthy relationship and a sort of economic alignment with the countries like Canada, Australia, New Zealand, and the UK. This could seem like the rise of the British Empire. This will help the UK get back on track. Brexit will alter the internal dynamics of the European Union and also the role it plays on a global level. With Brexit, the EU loses their most competitive navy and two of their UN Security Council permanent members, nuclear powers. They have managed to change the global doctrines of the EU as well. But this could mean that the EU would try to loosen their relationship with the US and turn to Russia. Maybe that's why they trusted 40% of their energy imports with Russia. Brexit has ignited a chain reaction that has upgraded the status of the Anglosphere as they become a part of the privileged inner circle of the US alliance system to a level that could surpass EU and NATO. There is a high chance that the UK could flourish, and this step might seem negative at the moment, but humans have the tendency to grow, and growth is inevitable. The results of the UK's choices seem grim at a time as they have been disruptuous in trade and supply of labor. The nations will struggle from border and immigration arrangements. With the pandemic together, it could compound together, forming an economic fallout. But with new emergence as countries come together, and when the United Kingdom gain their momentum back, it would be worth it. They have to make it worth it. It's a new, fresh start for them. I'm sure they will stumble from a couple more years, but they will eventually flourish. A lot of things have happened in these years, and people are still recovering, and there's nothing we can do about the choices that have been made. But let's encourage each other in these hard times and grow together. Thinking about growth, do subscribe to our channel if you haven't yet. It'll really help us grow. And if you like this video, make sure to give it a like. Thank you very much.
We've seen that imports and exports have been a huge headache for businesses dealing with Britain or from Britain, with imports and exports dropping about 16%. It's even worse for services, though, with the UK Trade Policy Observatory saying that imports and exports of services to the EU have dropped 37%. So one saving grace for Johnson is that COVID has obscured the full impact of Brexit, but it seems that Britons haven't got what they were promised yet.